Dear Toastmasters and esteemed guests, very good afternoon to you all. I am Ramesh Rajendran, your surgeon at arms. I would like to wish you all in advance Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. So with this, let's start with an exciting meeting of Medley Toastmasters Club 603. The mission of Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and a positive learning experience in which the members are empowered to develop and communicate leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and
I think we lost him.
bandwidth was low. Shall I start again, sir? Hello?
Please go ahead, Ramesh.
Okay, sir. I'll start from again. Bandwidth was low. Now I set it up. Dear Toastmasters and esteemed guests, a very good afternoon to you all. I'm Ramesh Rajan, your surgeon at arms. I would wish you all in advance a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. With this, I would like to start this exciting meeting of ours of 603 of Medley Toastmasters Club. A mission of Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and a positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. In every Toastmasters Club, we follow these practices. First, if you're not the speaker, please put yourself on mute. Second, if you're moving, please switch off your video in order to avoid distractions. 3, please avoid taboo topics such as sex, religion, and politics. 4, please attend the meeting in formal attire. 5, guest, kindly prefix your name with the word guest, that is guest followed by your name. With this, I would like to welcome our presenting officer for today, DTM Thomas Abraham, sir, our club president. He is a former senior vice president of corporate communications with Hinduja Group. He has taught public speaking and debate to undergraduates. He combines words, voice, photography, and design to communicate. He has been a proud Medlian since Jan 2015. With this, I would like to present the stage to Mr. President DTM Thomas Abraham. So,
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ramesh Rajendran. Thank you for the energetic beginning you've given us. With the sound of the
I think we lost him due to
Looks
power
like
cut.
Thomas sir got frozen in time.
Could be because of power cut. Room looks back. Probably PM Modi can start.
Yes, I'll do that. All right, looks like our president has gone to collect a few stars from the night sky. Good afternoon, Medlians and guests. Warm welcome to meeting number 603. We see a few guests here as well as our familiar members, Toastmasters. I'm Suganti Periyaswamy and I'll be your Toastmaster or the anchor for this meeting, and I'll be taking you through the entire meeting. So today we have an interesting theme. I call it interesting because all of us know, all of us have grown watching the stars over a period of time. It could be a small kid, could be an adult, but then however young or old we are, I think the night sky never fails to amaze us. All right. Have you ever looked up at the sky and felt lost in time, wondering how many stars are there in the entire sky? What are those forms or patterns of stars? Have you done that in your life, maybe as a kid or as an adult? So today I'll take you through an interesting discussion where we will talk briefly about the night sky, particularly about the stars, and I will help you understand what are the 5 most popularly discussed constellations of stars. So star is nothing but a luminous body, a glowing body made up of hydrogen and helium, burning in its core, there are a lot of nuclear fusions going on in its core, and that is why, and that is how the hydrogen and helium form the light and heat, and the gravity of the star holds together all the atomic particles, and that is why you will see the stars twinkling in the night sky. They say the temperature of a star could be somewhere between 2000 degrees centigrade to about 50,000 degrees centigrade. You must all now understand, although the night sky is cool, the stars are not cool, they are super hot bodies. So when you look at the night sky, you will see patterns or perceived patterns, and those are called as constellations. So constellations are nothing but a group of stars in a perceived pattern. One particular constellation that I was kind of intrigued ever since my childhood is this particular Y-shaped constellation. I have never missed to see this Y-shaped constellation every day in the night sky when I was at school. And even today, when you go out and look at the night sky, when the lights are all off and you're able to see a clear sky, you will definitely not miss this Y-shaped. You will see these three stars in one row, and then little further away you will see one star, and a little further away from the third dot you will see one more star, which is formed in the shape of a Y. And in the world of astrology, they call this particular star constellation as the Cancer. So before moving on to talk a little more about the stars, like how we have the entire galaxy, you have the Earth, then above the Earth you have the atmosphere, and above the atmosphere you have the rest of the galaxy. Our Toastmasters meeting will also be divided into 3 sections. We have the prepared speeches, wherein our members have prepared on their respective projects. Moving on, how the atmosphere has different stratosphere and other spheres, a combination of the different spheres, and we don't know how the ozone layer came into picture. So much of interesting things going on. We also have an interesting section called as the table topics, where it is dedicated to impromptu speaking. And then the third segment is called as the evaluation, like how the galaxy is there and we don't know, and we can learn a lot from the galaxy. We say the evaluation section forms a backbone of a Toastmasters meeting, where our evaluators give us constructive feedback. To take us through the entire evaluation section, we have one person who is the brightest star in our meeting today. He is none other than the medley star called as Toastmaster, the general evaluator called by the name Toastmaster Kishore. Toastmaster Kishore says every night when he goes on to the terrace, he loves looking at the stars because they provide him a sense of calmness and help him to forget the worries. In fact, all of us attribute a star and a wish. We look at a star and they say, make a wish and the wish will come true. So when I asked Kishore what is that one wish that he has for 2021, when he looks at a star, he says that he would like to see UK sign up the free trade deal with the European Union. So let's hear from our general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Krishna Kishore.
Thank you very much, Sugandhi, and welcome all to our medley Toastmasters meeting. And I am the general evaluator for today, and our team as a general evaluation, we will be evaluating the meeting on a qualitative and quantitative perspective. So I have 2 teams who are going to help me conduct the meeting and provide you with the feedbacks from qualitative and quantitative perspective. Firstly, I will go ahead and introduce you to my quantitative team, who are timer, counter, and grammarian. So, and they will introduce you the roles and responsibilities of all these 3 roles. With that said, let me introduce our timer for today, who is Karthikeyan, working as a software consultant, and he is specialized in office endpoint security. So he's a security specialist. So with that said, may I request Karthikeyan to read out his roles and responsibilities as a timer.
Hi, fellow Toastmaster and the guest. As a timer, I will time the formal speaker and evaluation and tabletop speeches. I will also allot each speaker of the timely that they have left to use the green, yellow, and the red cards. Prepare speeches 5 to 7 minutes, evaluation speeches 2 to 3 minutes, TT session 1 to 2 minutes, education session 16 to 20 minutes. Please pin the timer to your screen. I will submit the report at the end of the meeting when called upon GE. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karthikeyan. Can you please show the demonstration once how you're going to change the slides so that everyone is aware of that?
The green.
Okay.
Yellow. Red.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Karthikeyan. Now let us move forward and let me introduce our counter for today, who is Saravanan, a experienced Toastmaster, a very good evaluator, and a native of Coimbatore, settled in Adia, working as an IT professional in one of the reputed IT firms in Chennai. And his hobby is playing cricket. With that said, let me ask Saravanan to read out the roles and responsibilities of an counter.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters as well as guests. The purpose of our counter is to note words and sound that are used as a crutch for or pause filler by anyone who speaks. So I listen through the entire meeting. I will listen for overused words, including and some of the filler words which you are using. All these I will note down. And when called upon at the end by the general evaluator, I will present those report as such. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Saravanan. Moving forward, we have our grammarian of the day, who is Ranga. And he is a successful banker. He had a very good career as in the banking and IT. And now he's working as a consultant for one of the NGOs in Chennai. Friends and family are the main support pillars for Ranga, and that is what he cherishes in his life. And he's a veteran Toastmaster with medley and a lot of learning from him. With that said, may I request Ranga to read out the roles and responsibilities of Grammarian and introduce us with the word of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as Grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language as well as outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As Grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And the word of the day today is euphoria. Euphoria means elation, extreme happiness, and exhilaration. A couple of usages in sentences. Family members were filled with euphoria when they regained consciousness after 2 weeks in coma. The second usage, the entire country was euphoric when India won the World Cup in India. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting, and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Over to you, GE.
Thank you, Ranga. Dear Toastmasters, as I said, I have both qualitative and quantitative teams, and I have introduced you with my quantitative team. And at the later point in the meeting, we come to provide you the qualitative observations of the meeting with the help of our evaluators, and finally with my general evaluation. With that said, let me hand the limelight over to our Toastmaster of the day. Over to you, Srinivas.
Thank you, Medley Star Kishore, for introducing your galaxy of stars. Now, I told you that stars form a pattern known as constellations, and today we'll be learning about the 5 universally popularly known constellations. But before that, I told you stars are as hot as 2000 degrees centigrade to 50,000 degrees centigrade. So you must be wondering, how long does a star live, isn't it? The life cycle of a star spans somewhere about 1,000 years, thousands to millions to billions of years. And do you know which is the closest star to the Earth? Can somebody give me an answer? Which is the closest star to Earth?
Sun.
Thank you, sir. Yes, our very own sun is a shining star, and people say that like our sun, there are thousands of other stars in the galaxy that might have a solar system revolving around them, which may or may not be visible to our naked eyes. So moving on, let me first introduce you to the most popularly known two constellations. The first one is called the Ursa Major, and the popular name is the Great Bear or the Big Dipper. This one is the most famous constellation of stars among the other constellations because it is mostly visible throughout the entire year, but it is best viewed during the month of April. Now this one has a sister or a brother called as the Ursa Minor, and the popular name is called as the Little Bear or the Little Dipper. This constellation is also visible almost all throughout the year, but it is best viewed during the month of June. There's a small story that goes behind why these two constellations are known as the Great Bear. Usually stars have a very close relationship with the Greek mythology. So there is a god of thunder and lightning in the Greek mythology called as Zeus. So Zeus had a wife named as Hera, and Hera was a beautiful lady. But then what happened? I think something went wrong with Zeus. He fell in love with another young, beautiful lady called as Callisto. Now, what happens when two ladies get to share a man? Of course, we have jealousy. So Zeus' wife Hera became jealous of Callisto, and using her supernatural powers, turned her into a bear. So when Callisto got turned into a bear and she was wandering somewhere, she came across her son. Her son couldn't identify that the bear was in fact his mother Callisto, so he took an arrow and was about to shoot her. That's when Zeus came into picture, and then he said, "Hey, look, son Arcas, this is your mother, the beautiful Callisto. Please don't shoot her." Now Hera was watching all of this and she became quite wild, and she also turned the son into the little bear or the Little Dipper. So Zeus wanted to protect his beautiful mistress Callisto and her son Arcas, and that is why he, using his supernatural powers, cast them onto the night sky, and that is why we see the mother Callisto as the Ursa Major or the Great Bear, and the son, the Arcas, as the Ursa Minor or the Little Bear. So this is the interesting story that we have behind these, the Ursa Major and the Ursa Minor, that we see almost on every day throughout the year. Let's move on to the first segment, the prepared speeches. To enthrall us with a speech comes the first medley star, Toastmaster Jagan, who will be delivering a level 2 project second speech from the persuasive influence path. Now, while most of us look at the night sky to admire the stars, Jagan stands out, and he loves to look out for the planet Venus. And when I asked him what wish he has in store for 2021, he says that he wants to work on objective and achievable goals. Before we invite Jagan onto the virtual stage, may I request his evaluator, Toastmaster Venkatesh, to please read out his objectives.
Thank you, Temuri. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, my target speaker, Toastmaster Jagannathan, is going to deliver his pathway, Persuasive Influence Level 1 Project 2, Evaluation and Feedback speech. The speech title is The River Bed. The purpose of this project is the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply for feedback on a second speech. Timer, please note the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, my target speaker, Toastmasters Jagan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Venkatesh. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Jagan on stage. Jagannath, the riverbed. The riverbed, Toastmaster Jagannath.
The Lord of the Rings is a story of two boys. Unfortunately, it begins with their tragic death. Sushant, who was 35 years old, and Arun was 25. Sushant acted on top of the stage while Arun toiled under it. Every day, Sushant enacted different characters with fancy clothes and exotic perfumes, whereas Arun would enact the same, stink the same, and appear the same. Sushant came to fame with a 6, while Arun swept the bottom of the tank with a broom. TV anchors roared Sushant's death. Investigation flew across the country, but everybody hesitated to even retrieve Arun's body from the bottom of the tank. Why should these two people be treated differently? Why didn't Arun get the similar attention as Sushant? Would a just society be ingrained with such inequalities? What is a just society then? Good afternoon, Madam Toastmaster and my dear friends. Firstly, the just society has equality. Simply put, equality is absence of privileges. In India, we elect a president, whereas in the United Kingdom, as we all know, Queen rules over the United Kingdom, which means in India, every public post is open to everybody. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen based on religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Unfortunately, many of us know this as Article 15, as a Hindi movie, but not as a fundamental right in the law of the land. Secondly, a just society celebrates liberty. What is liberty? Liberty is the opportunity to develop our own self. In India, the government is obligated to provide free and compulsory education for children between 6 and 14 years of age. We all are familiar with the development indicators of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. One of the reasons why these two states have good human development indicators is because the government invested in health and education, and also how equitably these services were provided to reach the disadvantaged sections. Thirdly, a just society prohibits the arbitrary use of power. No person in India shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except in accordance with the law. In other words, I cannot punish you for an offense to satisfy my whimsical fantasies. There must be a law which gives the particular offense and its proportionate punishment. Compare it with the discretion that the kings and queens had in ruling their kingdoms and queendoms. That is one of the reasons why that our club has also constituted a committee to define its constitution. Thus, a just society, as we have defined, has equality, liberty, and the absence of arbitrary power. Let's take a step back to reflect on the story of the Lord of the Rings. Why did Arun and Sushant were treated differently? Certainly, the law of the society, the law of the land that we have is enough in dealing with these disparities. Despite that, the structural inequalities in our society persist like pests on a paddy field. Can these be captured in law? I was so confused with the law on the left bank of the river and reality on its right bank. There is such deep ingrained river bed which separated these two parts of our society, which hindered the full realization of law. What was that riverbed made of? Going back in history, I remember in our childhood, we had a maid in one of our relatives' house. Her name was Latha. She was from a slum. She was a slum dweller, and she had to work multiple jobs to make her ends meet. The family treated her well, with respect, and paid her appropriate wages. Yet, little did I notice, until I reached my teens, I noticed the tone in the way we addressed her. Today, I wouldn't have taken a similar tone against anybody. It is so subtle. It is so subtle unless you pay close attention to the gestures, vocal variety, and body language. It will be business as usual for us. The different tumblers, the different food plates. Hey, don't behave like Lata. She is so naive and vulnerable like Lata. Oh, she looks just like Lata. Sometimes we were completely disrespectful to her feelings. Our family was not that way. We weren't consciously behaving that way, but yet there was a subtle discrimination as delicate as a needle piercing through a banana. The perceptions that we hold of our fellow citizens cannot be captured in law. The relative positions of our people in a society, be it economically and sociologically, churn a behavior in us that is discriminatory and violative of human principles. To add to this, the purity of birth, the notions of purity of birth. Lata was fortunate, Arun was not. History tells us that a subtle prejudice today can balloon into a vengeful discrimination tomorrow. But think of this, my dear friends. What about those people who experience vengeful discrimination today? What is there tomorrow? The riverbed runs deep in all of us. It is so deep that we don't see it. Many of us brush this aside as exceptions or unaware of this subtle discrimination. The first step in achieving a just society, in my belief, is to be aware of the existence of the riverbed. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Medley Star Toastmaster Jagan, for such a thoughtful and thought-provoking speech. Moving on to our second Medley Star, the prepared speaker, we have none other than our president himself. These days, he says the skies look a little bit dull, but although the skies are dull, he looks at the skies and he assumes that there is a star that's granting his wish, and the wish that he has for 2021 is he wants to travel around the world like in the regular days. So moving on, let me invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Krishna Kishore, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Thomas's Level 5 Project 1 speech from the Path Presentation Mastery. Over to Kishore. Kishore, I think you're too far in the sky and we're not able to hear you. Can you come a little bit closer to Earth and speak?
Cool. Thank you, Sugandhi. So as part of this project, Thomas has to learn and apply the skills needed to conduct a project and also conduct a meeting on the lessons learned from the project. When it comes to this specific speech in this project, it is for the member to showcase the leadership experience as part of this project and also the impact of the lessons learned meeting. So with that said, the time is 5 to 7 minutes. Let me hand it over back to Sugandhi.
Thank you, Kishore. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome our Medley Star DTM Thomas Abraham. DTM Thomas Abraham from 4.5 to 5. From 4.5 to 5, DTM Thomas Abraham.
Thank you very much, DTM Sugandhi. Good afternoon, dear guests and dear Medlians. A question for you. How was milestone 600 for you? Any responses? I request you, please pick one item or aspect about medley 600. Say DTM debug menon, or say punctuality, and in the chat box, kindly give just your score. 1 to 5. 1 means lousy, 5 means excellent. 1 to 5, just your score against each aspect. As your score keeps coming, let me tell you about the lessons learned meeting we had on 6th of December within a week. We discussed what worked and why. We discussed what didn't work and why. We also discussed what can be done better. As the scores keep coming, we had very similar scores. Thank you. Also, remember milestone 575 on 4th of July. Sheer luck got us Mrs. Shanti Swaminathan, the founder, who was missing for 10 long years. The sensory high impact came from none other than Jagan's medley, My Second Family, Narasimhan's crisp, bright PPTs at transitions, and the entire video production by Our Lady Bahubali. Don't forget her, Varshini, who was not even a member on that day. Things were flowing fine. Near the close, as I was inviting important guests for feedback, suddenly my normally robust ACT connection snapped, which it did again today to remind me of that occasion. Only the second time it happened this year. Then and there I decided I will not let it happen again in medley. When visualizing medley 600, my vision statement was better than 575, from 4.5 to 5. 2 missions. 1, failure proof against disconnection. 2nd, add audio elements to transition. The theme, keep climbing, evolved from medley crossing milestones in a hurry thanks to your enthusiasm, and the logo followed quite naturally. Then, branding done, in consultation with Sugandhi, I booked the 2 main speakers early. Early bird gets sure speakers. With the trio and the external founders also tied up by October, the main offering, 2 hours of programming, was secured. I could breathe easy. Ramesh came with his mission of fun. So he and his team worked on this 12-minute skit, and Guru promised us 12, but as always, he delivered 15. Ramesh brought in emotions and credible brand promotion by catching the voices of 34 medlians. That was more than any audio transitions I was hoping for. Now the learnings. 4 main learnings, friends. 1, role clarity helps, especially in forming one-off meetings. It may be awkward, even considered officious, to spell out the role and say, you do this, you do this. But then, between mature adults, as Ramesh and I did, consensus could be reached as the roles evolved. 2nd, primary, early start. Even management teaches you that time evaporates in proportion to the team size. So I had started very early by club standards. That gave us enough cushion for all the delays on the way, and still we could run home dry. 3rd, backup plan saved the day. Remember my resolve? Scripts were shared before the meeting. Mine was given to 2 others. Imagine otherwise, DTM Sunil Jose calls Dr. Abraham Zakaria, and suddenly Sunil's connection at his farmhouse in some exotic part of Kerala snaps. What will the poor TMOD say? They don't know Abraham. What will they ask him? In corporates, let me say this, by now, this is standard practice. Backup speaker, even for MD downwards. It's insurance. Ego has no place when results matter. Sure enough, at Medley 600, remember when one laptop decided on a long lockdown? It was backup by Raghu that saved Medley further blushes. 4th, rehearse. At events, it is standard operating practice to rehearse the whole sequence of actions multiple times and pray to God earnestly, unless if you are a gambler. There were also some subjective matters which will come up again in future. Therefore, here it is. One voice says, Here we are, exhausted from working at home, wanting a little diversion, some fun. Here we come, and are we to do army-style planning and execution in medley events? Oh, come on. A contra thought. When I deliver a speech, even after work from home or otherwise, don't I try to do the best I can? So when I do something for medley, will I lower my guard? Will I not do it for my pride, for medley's reputation? Question to ponder. Second question. Why get testimonies only from seniors? Why discriminate? Perhaps when the XCOM does things officially, a criteria helps so that no left out person finds it arbitrary. It's all in the template each time. Remember milestone 500? Only 3 medlians shared their testimony. You remember them? You remember that they had 2 months to 1 year's experience as medlians. Sorry, seniors, no chance for you today. That takes me to the fundamental truth. At all milestones, there are just 5 stakeholders: members, founders, ex-presidents, district leaders, guests, and for roasting, the XCOM. These 5 vegetables are a must in all mixed vegetable curries. Each time you can change the size of the pieces, the masala, the oil, the presentation, the bowl. But the 5 vegetables remain. There lies the challenge of variety for all meeting planners within the overall challenge, how to move from 4.5 to 5. 4.5 to 5. Challenge or inspiration? Your take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DTM Thomas, for that interesting and enlightening speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to our third speaker for today, let us see what the third constellation is. The third constellation that we'll be discussing today is known as the Orion, or famously the Hunter. Now, this is one of the most famous constellations, and in fact, they say this is one of the largest constellations that we can view from Mother Earth. Now, if you look at why Orion is also known as the Hunter, like how I said, the stars are usually linked with the Greek mythology. We have the god of hunt known as Orion, and he usually goes around to a small island to hunt with a goddess of hunt known as Artemis. So while they were busy hunting, the story goes like this. So it seems that one day accidentally, the goddess of hunt, Artemis, accidentally shot an arrow towards Orion and he died. Or there is also another Greek story which says that while the god of hunt and the goddess of hunt were busy hunting on that small island, a scorpion stung Orion and he died there. And later on, the scorpion went on to form another constellation of stars known as the sun sign, the Scorpio. So here you can see in this, you can see the 3 bright stars. Towards the bottom, you see the brightest star known as the Regal. And here above, you see Betelgeuse. And these 3 stars in the so-called, it is not a triangle, it is a V-shaped, an extended V-shaped. So if you're able to locate this particular V shape, and from there, if you're able to see, this portion is perceived to be the head of Orion. And here you can see the bow. So that is why the Hunter Orion, this galaxy of this constellation of stars is known as the Hunter, because you have the shape of the hunter. So now let's invite our third speaker, the medley star Toastmaster Swami. He says that during summer, he would like to go to the terrace, lie down on the floor and look and wonder at the night sky with his children. And when I asked him what special wish he wants to get from the stars, for 2021, he says that he wants to buy a new car and he also wants to fulfill all the wishes of his children. Today, he will be delivering Level 1 Project 2 speech from the Dynamic Leadership Path. And let me invite our medley star DTM John Abraham John Jaikumar to read out his project objectives.
Atishai.
I'm very sorry. Since I was so lost in wondering and caught up in the euphoria of the galaxy of stars, I got a little mixed up with our evaluators. So today we have the medley star Toastmaster Atishay who will be evaluating Toastmaster Periswamy.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Toastmaster of the day. Today I'll be evaluating Toastmaster Periswamy's speech. This speech is the second speech as part of his project, which was dynamic leadership. And this speech is being given after the previous speech, and the feedback from the previous speech will be incorporated in this speech. The purpose of the speech is for the member to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. Good luck, Toastmaster Periswamy, and over to you.
Thank you, Star Atishay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Welcome our medley star Toastmaster Periswamy. Food for thought. Food for thought, Toastmaster Periswamy.
Hi everyone, am I audible? Please show your thumb. Yeah, thank you very much. How many of you cook at your homes? Please show your thumb if you are cooking at your homes. Yeah, great. I see some faces, the smiling faces. Great. Do you know the entire process of how a 10 kg atta or rice packet reaches your home? Let me take you through it. First of all, the farmer, who is backbone of our country, he is very hardworking. There is no rest for a farmer. He works throughout the year. First of all, he plows the land, sow the seeds into the field with the input of water, manure, sunlight, with immense human effort. Finally, the seed turns into a plant. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and welcome guest. As per report by CNN, 25% of food is wasted in the harvesting stage itself. After this, the food is taken to the nearby processing unit. 10% of all food is wasted in the processing stage. 40% of all food is wasted in the warehouses and storage units, which are inadequate to the rodents. Finally, the food reaches the supermarket and retail markets, where we, the consumers, pay many times the actual amount and buy the food. It is estimated that 1/3 of all the fruits and vegetables which are cultivated are lost even before they reach the consumers, which means 1/3 of all the water which humans takes from the planet goes into the cultivation of food which nobody eats. Wow, wasn't this a fact which you knew? But we take this food from supermarket and cook and eat. To be appreciating the fact how lucky we are to have the food which we are eating every day. Can we look into our own lives and think how much food we waste on daily basis, be it fruits or vegetables rotting in our refrigerators, or the food which we waste in buffet and marriage parties. Someday when our mother or wife cooks food for us, which is slightly overburnt or mid of taste, we tend to look reason to go out for dinner and waste the food instead. Since most of us from IT, just imagine, you are working on a project day in and day out for months writing codes and testing it to the best of your ability. You finally burn it into a CD and take it to your customer. Your customer break the CD into 2 pieces and throw it into the dustbin. How do you feel? Yes, same way the farmer or the person who has cooked your food feels when you throw the food in the dustbin. We have a lot of marriage parties and book your lunch or dinner over there. There are a lot of varieties of food. We want to eat everything of that. We fill our plates to the maximum holding capacity, eat what we like and throw the rest into the dustbin. As per report by WHO, 40% of all food is wasted, which is 1.3 billion tons of food a year, which cost $165 billion to the world economy. All this while, 2 out of 10 people in the world are not even sure they are going to get their next meal. Can we bring out a change? Yeah, I catch your mind voice. Let me tell you how. First, plan ahead and buy only what you need. Before going to the supermarket, make a checklist and buy and stick to it strictly. Second, store the food which you have got currently. Cook only the right amount. Maybe in your refrigerator, you can have the unit of shelf which you feel is going to get spoiled soon, cook it soon. Third, whatever food you have cooked, make sure you complete it. If there are any leftovers, you pack it and store it correctly so that you can use it later. You can also compost wet kitchen waste and make organic fertilizers and use it in your plants instead of buying it from the market. Few quick tips from my side. Always store extra plastic container at your homes. In case you have leftover food, you pack it and with benevolence try to distribute to the people in your locality. There are some NGOs in Chennai who accept leftover food. Make sure to Google the one which is closest to your houses and save that number in your mobile in case you need it at any time. Lastly, when you go to some hotel and there is a leftover food, don't try to pack it. Initially, when I used to think this leftover funny, what would I do? Let it go to waste. But once I was started by seeing all these figures, I make sure I don't even waste even a single grain of food. Let's be grateful to the God for the food which we eat every day. Our famous Tamil poet Bharatiyar says, "Tani manidanukku unavillayil jagathinai azhippom," which means destroy the world if even a single person doesn't have food. Let's make a prayer that even a single soul on this planet of Earth goes to sleep with an empty stomach. Let's take a pledge to save every single grain of food. Can we do it, Medlians? Thank you. Over to TMOD.
Your speech was indeed food for thought, Toastmaster Periyaswamy. Thank you very much. Like I mentioned earlier, in the entire galaxy of stars, there are a few stars that shine really very bright, and it is those stars that catch our attention as soon as we start looking at the night sky. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to hear from one such shining star, Toastmaster Shamraj, who is a software engineer turned trainer by passion. He heads a training firm by the name Beehive Communication. And do you know why he is one of the most brightest stars in the skies of District 120? Because he has won the International Speech Contest, the Humorous Speech Contest, the Table Topics Speech Contest, as well as the Evaluation Speech Contest. So he has aced all the 4 forms of the Toastmasters Speech Contest that is available, and that is why he is one of the brightest stars of District 120. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our star speaker today, Toastmaster Shamraj.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Am I audible and visible to everyone? Yeah? So thank you so much. No, it's a privilege to get introduced by our former district director and a person whom I admire the most when it comes to leadership. Thank you for your sweet words of introduction, madam. In fact, when I received this opportunity from distinguished Toastmaster Thomas, I was afraid of him because I know speaking in front of DTM Thomas, you have to be very perfect. And the moment I stepped into this meeting room, I got even more scared because I see many more champion speakers inside. I find leaders here, and I have to be very careful when I talk in front of you. However, privileged am I, honored am I to present my small education session in front of all of you. The topic for this session has been given to be the life cycle of a speech. Why should it be the life cycle of a speech? Why is it not the speech itself that we should be discussing? My dear people, in the last few years, I've understood that the approach towards a prepared speech is more important than the prepared speech itself. Yeah. Now, let us start it with a few questions. How many of you feel when you finish your speech, all right, when you finish your speech and come down the stage, how many of you feel I had prepared the speech for 5 to 7 minutes? I delivered the speech for 5 to 7 minutes, but it seems like it got finished in 2 to 3 minutes. How many of you have felt that? It was over very soon. Yeah. We feel that at times. Yeah. Okay. Very nice. The next question. How many of you feel when I present my speech and come down, at times I don't miss one line or two lines. I miss an entire chunk in my script. Have you felt that? Like you miss a paragraph inside and you just go on. Have you felt that? Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Final question. How many times have you felt that you have two minds on the stage? You have two brains on the stage. One brain is battling with the script. Another brain is checking who is doing what. Yeah, have you got that? Like, of course, it is normal to have that, but have you felt that abnormal feeling of the same? Yeah, we at times feel this abnormal feeling. Yeah, if your answer to at least two of these questions had been yes, then it has not anything to do with our speech, my dear friends. It is only everything to do with the approach that we have towards a speech. That's what I call the life cycle of a speech. In the year 2017, all the Toastmasters of District 82 had this beautiful opportunity of listening to Toastmaster Dhananjaya Hettiarachchi as he was the educational speaker for Ovation that year. And I had another golden opportunity of taking a cup of coffee with this gentleman after the conference was over. I did not do well that year in my international speech contest. I was sitting in front of him and he said, "What went wrong?" I said, "No, I should have worked hard. I should have done this. I should have had this element in my speech. I should have done this." I said all these things. He was talking to me for 20 minutes. And by the end of 20 minutes, he asked me, "So Shyam, I've given you all that you want. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do for next year?" I said, "Sir, tomorrow I'm going to go start my preparation." I said, "Tomorrow I'll go and start my hard work." I said. Dhananjaya said, "Wow, wonderful. You will fail the next year also." He said, "You will fail the next year also." That was not what he was expecting from me. He was not expecting hard work from any speaker. He was not expecting anybody to start well ahead of time. To him, my dear people, the conventional life cycle of a speech is not welcome. Here we go. Do we feel the title is the first and foremost thing of a speech? Like, I'll tell you how I was looking at prepared speeches, all right? Some of you may connect with me. To me, the title was number one. Step number one should be title. Step number two is writing the script for that title. Step number three is thinking about a prop that would suit my speech. Can a prop be suitable for this speech? This would be my step number three. Step number four is fitting a body language for that script. It's like I have already chosen my song. Now I'm going to choreograph that song. It's like that, my body language. The next is attempting a few levels of voice variation. When I start practicing that, then practice, finally presentation. This was my idea when it comes to the life cycle of a speech. And my dear people, it took me years to understand that this approach was the reason for many of my failures. This is not the right approach. I got to understand this from veteran speakers. Now, how does this change? My dear people, the title of your script is not number one. Most of the times when we go look for titles, we do not look for content. Most of the times when we think, what do I speak on? No. What are you going to speak is more important than what you're going to speak on. Yeah. So let us keep this point, title, aside. What comes first? Many people forget this traditional, conventional life cycle. When I talk to speakers like Dhananjaya or many other wonderful, remarkable veteran speakers in our fraternity, I understand something that's very unusual is the first step in the life cycle. What is that? Practice. Practice is step number one. What do I practice? I don't have a script. What do I practice? I don't have a title. What do I practice? I don't have anything to rehearse. What is it that I'm going to practice? My dear people, they say, simply practice. Simply practice. Take some time, spend some time in life to see if there is one incident that will suit you. In fact, I'll put it like this. I quote Dhananjaya because we all can relate with it very easily. Do we remember this first scene in his speech? He has a trash can, he has a flower, he picks out the petals and drops the flower in the trash can. Dhananjaya told us in that conference that it was the last part of his preparation in his speech, but that comes first in the speech.
He says he was pondering around to find a trash can. He was roaming around to find a flower. He was taking a lot of time the night before the World Championship contest to build that first 1.5 minutes. So that was not the first part of his speech. That was the last part of his preparation. He says, I know my body language. He says how I can handle prop. He says how I can present a mighty content in a husky voice. So I was practicing for a long time to decide how I should stand, to decide what I should have in my hand, and to understand in which volume I should say, I see something in you. And he says, till that moment, I did not write a single word in my paper. I did not write a single word in my paper until I practiced the body language that suited me, until I practiced the voice variation that suited me, until I practiced the property that suited me. Till then, I don't touch the paper, he says. So maybe touching the paper as the first thing might have been the problem to us all these days. Do you spend time with yourself? Do you prepare yourself even before a script is ready? That's my question. Do you get me, my dear friends? Like a thumbs up would make me understand that you are with me. Yeah, you get what I say? So great speakers say, like, you have to practice even before you get into your script, even before you start writing something. So body language, voice variation, and your property, choose it before you choose your script. All right, Sham, I have decided that. I remember an incident in my life. I think I can speak about that incident. Whenever I quote that incident to my friends, I do that so well. Now can I go for the title? No, wait. This is not the time that you go for the title. It can still wait. You can now start scripting it sentence by sentence. Like, here is the problem. How many of you have this habit of sitting in one shot and finishing off your script? Do you have that habit? Do you sit, maybe spend 2 hours, finish that script? My dear people, some of the experts suggest us that we spend many days for a script. That does not mean you're spending more time. That simply means you are sitting and writing that speech in different moods, in different mindsets. You would have felt this in humorous speech. Have you felt this? You write a script, you take a break, you finish your lunch and come back. The script that you wrote is not interesting. Have you felt that? You feel the jokes are not very humorous. You feel I should change that. Yeah. Now that is simply because you become a repeated audience to your humor. I'm not talking about that, but when you write a script, you come back the other day, you will have a different perception on the same script. You will feel that a prop can suit this place. You will feel that your body language can facilitate you with a better sentence there. So different days. So not writing it in one shot. So step number 2, writing the script, goes on to be the step number 2 for so many days. That has been the story of successful speakers. Yeah. So can you go and write only little chunks on your paper? Yeah. The second thing, a very important advice here is, do not write a sentence in your paper until you have checked it with your body language and your voice variation. Firstly, the sentence comes when you are standing. You stand, practice a sentence. You stand, you check out on a sentence. You speak, you check out on a sentence. Finally, when you feel, okay, I don't need this sentence, I can do it in 4 or 5 words, I can do it with this rhetorical question, then sit and draft it. Yeah. You know, some of the powerful speakers in the world say you can take 1 hour to draft 1 sentence. Have we heard that? You can take 1 hour to draft 1 sentence. And I can also share some of my personal experiences where this thing has helped me. There was an ISC where I had to present my speech on impressions. See, I have a theory to myself. I feel the first impression is not the best impression. I feel that. Like, you can have many more impressions. This was my idea. You know how I started this speech? I went up to the stage and I did this. Good morning, everyone. Acho, I'm sorry. Chi. Good afternoon, everybody. May I start again from the first? That was me at the age of 8. I was standing on my first stage, bluffing on the stage. My coach, who was standing behind the screen, saw me bluffing and he said immediately, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen." I saw him and said, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen." You get that? Do you get that? Do you think I would have written the script first? Do you think I would have written the script first? If I had written the script, shall I tell you what would have happened? I would have written it like this. My coach was standing behind the screen and he hit his head with his hand and said, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen." I saw him and I hit my head with my hand and said, "Ladies and gentlemen." Am I right? I would have written the script like this. I wouldn't have avoided those sentences with this body language alone. Now that is the power of practicing before you write your script. Have you got that? Yes, people. So whatever sentence you write on your paper, ensure that it is well practiced and well rehearsed even before you script it. Got that? Okay, then we discussed we have to be writing this on different days so that we have different moods and mindsets in which we write that script. Now the next point is not practicing, it is rehearsing. What do you mean by rehearsal? What do you mean by practice? Are they any different? Are they any different? Yeah. When you get into the deeper meaning of these two words, we understand that they are different. My dear people, practice is an informal way of rehearsal. Practice is the personal version of rehearsal. Practicing is practicing one element of your speech. Rehearsing is practicing everything. I say your step number 3 is rehearsal. Don't practice, rehearse it. All right, what do you mean, Shyam, by this rehearsal? I asked you a question, do you remember? When you go present your speech and get down the stage, you feel that the speech went on so quick. You feel that the speech went on in 2 to 3 minutes. Do you know why this happens, my dear people? Do you know why this happens? On the stage, you were not you. Am I right? On the stage, you were not you. What were you then? What were you then? You were a robo there. Am I right? Weren't you a robo who was reciting all those dialogues, who was presenting that body language as designed and crafted and completed and came down? Your brain was busy looking at the different people in the audience. Your brain was busy experiencing the difference that you found on the stage, that you did not know that it was 5 to 7 minutes. You felt it was just 2 to 3 minutes. So what is the remedy for this, Shyam? Yeah, here is a simple answer that I've got from the experiences of many people, in fact. I see that you're all in your homes, yeah? You're attending this meeting from your home, yeah? So this should be your private room, yeah? Do you have the habit of practicing or rehearsing your speeches from this room? Do you rehearse your speeches from this room? Yeah, this one. And I can see a wall behind you. Now you can see a wall behind me. Is that the wall against which you always stand and present your speeches? Is it the wall? Yeah. Now to me, this guy is the wall against whom I always stand and prepare my speech, rehearse my speech. It took me 5 years to understand that he was my enemy, that he was my problem. He was the problem for all my other problems. What was wrong? You know, people, there is a simple psychology that they say, when you go on to that stage, when you find the focus lights, when you find 600 people sitting in front of you, you are ready. Is your brain ready? You are ready. Is your brain ready? You know how to present that speech, but does your brain know how to handle the audience and your script? When you stand in front of this wall does not give that practice to your brain. This wall does not exercise your brain for that challenge. What happens when I stand in front of this wall, my dear friends? See, I stand in front of the wall. My eyes look at this blue wall. So my brain thinks, it assumes that this blue wall is my audience. Am I right? He feels that this blue wall is my audience. And he speaks. The second time I go in front of the same blue wall, the brain and the eyes think, okay, it's the same audience, it's the same guy, no problem, deliver it. You will become better in your presentation. The third time, same audience, same blue wall, no problem in the presentation. You finish it all comfortably. And one day, you stand in front of a huge audience. You may not realize this, my dear friends. You may not feel it personally, but your brain looks for the blue wall in the audience. Your brain does not see the blue wall in the audience. all in a sudden you are threatening him with 600 experts in front of it. So he is not concentrating on the script. He is not ready to balance things between the script and the threatening audience. And that's where you lose yourself. In the battle, you forget yourself. A 5 to 7 minute speech sounds like a 2 to 3 minute speech. You miss a chunk from inside and you don't realize it until you leave that pressure, until you leave that hot seat. So what do? If I don't need a wall, what do I need? If this wall is a problem, who will be my remedy? Who will be my solution? What can be done? Okay, here is again a suggestion from wonderful people. They say, practice your speech for the first day in front of this wall and don't ever come back to this wall. Don't ever come back to this fellow. Go stand in front of that wall and speak. So the brain at least knows he will not get the same audience every time. So your sensories know that it has to manage between the audience and the script. He is ready for it. He's exercising for it every day. And the next day they say, change the room, go somewhere, go to another room, speak from there. And it is always advisable if you can have one friendly enemy with you every time before you rehearse. So that you know a mind, a calculating human mind will sit in front of you when you are going to present your speech on the D-Day. Yeah. So this is more important, people. These are methods one by one. These are processes one by one, which will finally keep you comfortable on the stage. On the stage, you will not find it any different. Now, have you seen some of the powerful speakers in our very own district? They handle emotions very easily. Have you seen them? Emotions, like they speak and they make you feel low at times. Like they say the death of somebody, pull them down, and you also feel pulled down. How could they bring out that emotion on the stage under the focus lights? Now, that's because they know that the audience differ. They know that they are talking to people and not in front of lights. So practicing with different images in front of you as audience can help you, people. And there is one step, the final step, which people do not talk much about in the life cycle of a successful speech. They don't. But you should understand that without that one single step, any speech is incomplete, my friends. All right, sir, I have choreographed my speech, body language, voice modulation, prop, and then I came to writing the speech, and then I came to rehearsing the speech. What is next? Is it success? Is it success? No, my dear friends. Then comes failure. Maybe we need to admit that. Failure of a little magnitude to an immense magnitude. To any range, there might be failure. Now, the point is, when you fail, all that we need to do is stay there for some more time. Now, I just would like to say this because the moment we fail, we quickly suspect all our steps. We quickly suspect the methodologies that we have practiced. If I have 2 minutes, do I have like 2 minutes to quickly quote an incident that happened in my life? Yeah. In fact, it was the year 2017. I presented a speech on the title, Don't Eat That Apple. Don't Eat That Apple was the title of my speech. The first line of my speech was, now the time is. That was my first line. Now the time is. And I should mention the time at that moment. Okay. I had prepared well. I have done everything. I did everything perfectly. But before I went up to the stage, I forgot to tie the watch around my wrist. I didn't have my watch. And I walked 2 steps into the stage and I also realized I have not checked the time for that matter. So what do? You have nobody but a sergeant at arms. This sergeant at arms was a Sri Lankan who was standing on the stage. I quickly grabbed his hand without his permission. I pulled his hand. I looked at his watch. You know, when you are in a hurry, nothing works in your favor. Yeah, that was a black shirt on which he had worn that black watch, a black dial, black hand, and I couldn't see the time properly. I was able to feel that the minute hand was close to 8. The minute hand was close to 8. So I assumed 40, 48, 40, 8:40 should be the time. I went up to the stage and my first line was, friends, now the time is 8:40. That's how I started. All the members in the audience looked at their time and then looked at me. I did not know why. I continued talking. It took some time for people to respond to me. It took some time for people to correspond to me the way they usually do. Then after 2 or 3 minutes, they reacted to my jokes. They accepted my points. I should have left the stage in that mode. Here I did the second mistake. By the end of the speech, I knew it would have been 7 minutes by then. So I finished my speech like this. My friends, now the time should be 8:47. Now, all of this is happening on the district stage. Again, people looked at their watch and looked at me. I said, over to the contest master. With half a mind, they clapped hands for me. I came down. And then I saw my friend who was waiting for me. He took me by my collars and said, why did you say 8:40? I said, why? Is it not 8:40? And he said, fellow stupid, you woke up at 8:40 today. Do you know that? He said. And then he revealed the time now is 11:40. And just imagine how many sleepless nights I would have spent. Not for the fact that I lost that speech, but for the fact that the people of District 82 now believe Shyam doesn't know to check his time. Yeah. He took 11:40 as 8:40 and he was walking so proudly on the stage to deliver a presentation. Yeah. It took me at least a month to realize, yes, my dear people, a fumble, a failure, a fall is imminent, and it is okay to come back. We have again taken such stages. We have again met those people. Nothing wrong with your methodologies, nothing wrong with your processes. It is only like you have to be present at that moment. So failures contribute to be the penultimate step in the life cycle of your speech. I wish you all the best, my dear friends. The title of your speech can come anywhere, but ensure that you start practicing even before you script your speech. And then get into the process with your pen and paper and practice in front of different walls, practice in different rooms. And yes, if failure knocks, welcome him with a warm greeting smile. If you can do this, I believe, my dear friends, the next speech that you present can be better than the one that you presented yesterday. Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. I really enjoyed this time. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shyam, for such an enriching session, taking those learnings minutes. I'm sure we as medley stars will be able to implement them and shine brighter in our sky. So moving on, I told you we have a galaxy, a star. Some of those stars are all represent a person, sometimes an animal or a creature. There's so much available in the night sky that it brings us to a sense of euphoria. So the next session, we don't know what is in store in the night sky. So similarly, we have a session, an interesting session, a Toastmasters meeting, and we don't know what the Toastmaster of the day, the Toastmaster, the table topic master has in store for today. Toastmaster Shruti will be serving as our table topics master, and she says that she loves admiring the night sky because as a college kid, that is a break that is available to her at free of cost, and most importantly, she says it is non-addictive. When I asked her what is her wish for 2021, she says that she would like to get out of trouble as quickly as she gets into it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome our medley star, our table topic master, Toastmaster Shruti.
Thank you, TMOD. DTM Suganti weaved the theme of the day among the stars and the gods. The theme, Reach for the Stars, figuratively means to be ambitious. I weave the theme along the figurative lines with a twisted mix of a 19-year-old's humor and satire. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to the table topic session. Well, for today, it's life's lessons in 2 minutes. Now, a famous man once said, the sky is not the limit if you're reaching for the stars. When you think about it, it is always better to be armed for your journey to the stars with an arsenal of wise words and hands-on experiences of people who did it nook or crook and lived to tell the tale. Today, our TT speakers will be our own life coaches, Yoda, Master Shifu, Gandalf, Professor Dumbledore, to all those who aim for the stars and hopefully someday will make it. Our first Yoda would be Toastmaster Ramesh. Toastmaster Ramesh, are you available?
Okay. Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Your topic is pay attention to detail. Just because you don't read the calorie count, they are still going to shrink your clothes. I repeat, pay attention to detail. Just because you don't read the calorie count, they are still going to shrink your clothes. Over to you, Toastmaster Ramesh.
Could you repeat it again? This got cut in between.
Okay. Pay attention to detail. It is okay. Just because you don't read the calorie count, they are still going to shrink your clothes. You got it?
Yeah, perfect. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This is a realistic topic, to be honest. Yeah. So in this lockdown, everyone would have experienced sudden weight gain during, say, 6 or 7 months. I guess from March to July, no one would have noticed. After that, when slowly everything came on ease, the shirt which you used to wear used to be very tight nowadays. The pant you wear, it used to be very different. So then everyone started to do the dieting and all the stuff. And then they all started to take the diet, and now they do everything they take it at say 100 grams or 50 grams. They used to take super detailed in everything detailed now and then. And they used to see like 100 grams of calories. If you want to consume, you have to take this much. So though they take this much of precision, but at times it doesn't match to what we do. It doesn't matter what kind of diet you follow. It also depends on the exercise, and depends on the other external factors. So instead of paying attention to each and every element, that would obviously suppress your thinking. So what you can do is you have to do it as per your style. Not only if you take it as a lifestyle, not only food, but it also matters in exercise and other.
I think he's dropped off. Could we move on to the next?
If you drop it, then everything goes to normal. So back to Toastmasters.
Thank you, Ramesh, for your words of wisdom. Our second Master Shifu would be Toastmaster Shankar. Toastmaster Shankar, are you there?
Hi.
Okay. Your topic is be honest, always. Sometimes the reactions are surprising. Be honest, always. Sometimes the reactions are surprising. Over to you, Toastmaster Shankar.
Okay. There are many instances I would say that we want to be honest. Especially if you are in the finance world, you need to be honest when you are dealing with the financial transactions with the other parties. So one other time, what happened when I was processing one of the expenses reimbursement, that employee was claimed unfortunately for 20,000 rupees extra. So what we did that we started investigated that claim with a respective vendor. It is he has claimed from the hotel, and we in turn check with the hotel whether this bill was genuine. That hotel guy said no, it is not the genuine. So we have taken the action from this guy, and also we have taken into our circle finance data. So first, initially, the particular person was saying that no, he didn't make any of the crime. And to be honest, he was reaching me out that Shankar, please don't reveal. This is between you and me. Whatever you want, I can pay. Please leave me alone. Even for this 20K, I am happy to give whatever the money you want. But the honest and integrity that stands on that side. So I took the decision, and after discussing with the Circle Finance head, it directly went into Circle CEO. And after 3 months, he lost his job. I know that I was wrong with the particular person, but in terms of the company which I'm working there, I want to be honest and loyal. And this guy was jobless for 4 months, and he was always coming to my home and always make me so much of fight. Still, then I always says that was the job I did on the particular day. It's no personal vengeance between you and me. That was if you want to be honest, always you want to face some kind of consequences. Over to table topic speaker. Sorry, master.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Shankar. The next Professor Dumbledore would be guest Raman Sharma. Are you there?
Yes, table topic master. Am I audible?
So your topic is smile, even if you're thinking of murdering the person you're smiling at. I repeat, smile, even if you're thinking of murdering the person you're smiling at.
I did not hear it properly. Repeat it last time.
Okay. Smile, even if you're thinking of murdering the person you're smiling at. Did you get it?
Yeah. So, firstly, good evening to fellow Toastmasters of Medley Toastmasters Club. So, the topic that I got is smile, even though you're thinking of murdering the person who is smiling at. Did I get the topic right? Okay. So, I mean, it's been 2 months since I gave a table topic, so it's kind of hard. So please bear with me. So it is your facial expression always matter wherever you go. You know, always you need to carry the quality of positivity or optimism, even though you know that the person who's opposite to you or maybe any peer of you has done something wrong, and you want to shout at him. But then it's always better you smile so that you know they will feel more motivated and they come back to you for further guidance in the future. So any situation, let it be Toastmasters, this topic is actually very applicable to me. So any situation you face, try to always start and end with a smile. Even though in the middle you might be at the peak of your emotions, you might shout at your colleague or or maybe your subordinate, but then always try and end with a note of positivity and a smile so that you achieve whatever you want to do. And over to the topics master.
Thank you, Raman Sharma. I now welcome DTM Sampath Saurirajan sir to be our next Gandalf. So your topic, surprises will do one of the three things: scare you, thrill you, or make you sob like you're watching that really heartbreaking scene in Titanic. I repeat, surprises will do one of these three things: scare you, thrill you, or make you sob like you're watching that heartbreaking scene in Titanic.
Good afternoon, table topic master and fellow Toastmasters. Being surprised is expected to do something. If it doesn't do anything, then it is not a surprise at all. So today I thought the next will be another guest. I was surprisedly, I was called. In this case, it thrills me. Most of the time, it thrills me. Most of the time in my life, I am telling, not just table topics, it thrills me because I don't have basic fear and I am highly positive in my life. Because of this, surprise only thrills me. If occasionally it scares me, I wouldn't call it a surprise. I would rather call it as a shock. But it happens very rarely in most people's life. So surprise is supposed to thrill you. This is the way I will look at it and not the other options. So what is the profit or what is the gain in having surprises? It is like finding something interesting. It's like a spice in your normal thing. If you don't have any surprise at all, every day everything is going as per expectation, as per routine, life would become very dull. So you should have the surprises peppering your life on and off, and most of the surprises should be taken as a thrilling events, not as scaring events. Back to the table topic master.
Thank you very much, DTM Sampath, for your words of wisdom. I now welcome ex-Medallion Ram to be Professor Dumbledore. Ram, is he available?
Is audible?
Yes. Okay. So, Mr. Ram, your topic is love your inner child. It's okay if you're 40 and you still love to burst bubble wrap. Love your inner child.
What is the topic?
I repeat, love your
Okay.
inner child. It's okay if you're 40 and still love to burst bubble wrap.
Thank you very much for the topic. It's been, I think, a couple of years I came to Toastmaster. After getting married, I couldn't get chance to, I can't say I can't get chance. I became very lazy after the marriage. And I joined Toastmaster as a child. Later, I gained some confidence, but not completely. And after a marriage, after 2 years, I didn't get. I become very lazy, and now I got a child. Now she is 2 years old, but I want to make my child to speak English. But that's why I need to join Toastmaster again. Okay, so that is my inner child now. I want to make her a professional speaker. So for that, I want to be a good speaker. So I decided to join Toastmaster again, and I'm practicing things daily. And I need to make my daughter, personal speaker. Maybe I think there will be a Toastmaster for minimum age for Toastmaster is 11, but I need to make my child a better speaker. I'm again fumbling. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ram, for your experiences. Now I call upon, may I call upon Toastmaster Gopinath? Is he available? Toastmaster Gopinath?
Yes, sure.
So, sir, your topic is life is like searching for your phone. Most of the time, it is in your hands. I repeat, life is like searching for your phone. Most of the time, it's in your hands.
Yeah, thanks for the topic, Shruti. So, phone is always we have with us. So wherever we go, we keep our phone always. Whatever we want to do, we take a phone and we Google it, and there we get an answer. So life is like that. If you want to go somewhere, just try to go there and see, and then you will come to know whether it is a good or bad. So don't stop wherever you are. So try to see beyond the boundary, so that you'll be able to success in your life. So phone is like that. We have a phone, so it is our priority to use the phone for a good purpose or a bad purpose. So use a phone, and because we have the phone always with us, we can make use of it, and we can achieve whatever we want. Thanks, Shruti.
Thank you very much. Now I may I call upon guest Meneka.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, your topic is do something easy once in a while just to remain happy. I repeat, do something easy once in a while just to remain happy.
Yeah, nice topic, Shruti. I want to talk related to this topic. Once in a while, we do usually, in my experience, in my life cycle, my friends goes to theater and enjoy means in while. That time I feel very good, and this kind of people with me to talk about good things and bad experience in my life. That I want to do. Meanwhile, in board daily we are working and we are studying. So some of the works are there. In meanwhile, we are using to go theater and mall, like that of events we have to do. That is make me feel good. After that, I enjoy to go with my family to Kodaikanal or Ooty, etc. That make me very feel good in working all the day. After that, we can tell uh, spending time with the newborn baby and making the child feel laughing, like that of things uh, feel me in my mind. I feel happy. That things I want to do in my whole week. In 5 days I usually to Saturday or Sunday, these things I do, going to mall or theater or enjoying with my new child, like that of things I done. I would like to tell everyone have some passion or some dream to do with happy mind. I feel Toastmaster Club is I like so much, and I'm a newborn baby of this Toastmaster, and one day I achieving more things in this Toastmaster. I feel like a new plant, and you guys pour me water to grow in my life. Back to you, Toastmasters Kruti.
Thank you very much. One guest Venkata session for the topic, table topic. Guest Venkata session. Okay, so guest Arun. Guest Shakuntala. Any volunteer guests?
Yes, Shakuntala, I'm here.
Okay. So, ma'am, your topic is be it coffee or food, practice it in moderation. Be it coffee or food, practice it in moderation.
Thank you, table topic master. Whatever it life, it is in our hand. So whatever we do, we should not take anything to go to the extreme level, I think, because sometimes some people, even for the opinion, they go take the extreme levels, or they say this is good or that is bad. But I think everything if you take everything in moderate, life will be in a smooth way, from eating to exercising and everything. So that even with the other people, when you're talking with other people and with dealings, if you are in a moderate way, is everything will be in a smooth way. You don't have any struggle later on, because sometimes if you take one side, if you take even whether it is coffee or fruit, if you think, okay, this is not good, this is the one. There is a saying in Tamil, Amudamum Nanjam, Alavukku Meerinar. There is too much of anything can spoil you. So I think everything should be in moderate, and that will help us. Over to you, table topic master.
Thank you very much, Shakuntala. I thank all the speakers today for the little pearls of wisdom that you have given to all of us over here who want to succeed and who want to reach the stars on our own efforts by stepping on these advices and make it just a shorter route, maybe. Now, over to you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Medley Star Toastmaster Shruti. Dear Medlians and guests, please choose one of your favorite speakers from among the table topic speakers and one of your favorite speakers from the from prepared speeches. We will have the voting for the best speaker and the best table topic speaker towards the end of the meeting. So now let's move on to learn about the fourth and the fifth a constellation that we can see with our naked eye. Today we've been talking about a few characters from the Greek mythology, and here the next star constellation in discussion is called as the Taurus. The popular name is the Bull. Here you can see a bright star. This is called Aldebaran, and they say this bright star represents the bull's right eye. And from the right eye, you can see this, if you can just imagine, is like a slightly bent head of the bull. And here you can see two bright stars, and these two stars form an inverted V, or the bull's horn. Earlier in today's meeting, we talked about the god of thunder and light called as Zeus, and we also talked about his mistress, the beautiful Callisto. They say when they were in their early stages of infidelity, the god of thunder and lightning, Lord Zeus, disguised himself as the bull to meet his lady love, and that is why this constellation of stars is known as the Taurus, or famously known as the bull. And we can best view this set of stars during the month of January, although they are visible all through the entire year. And one easy way to spot this set of stars is if you can identify Orion the Hunter. The set of stars that form the Taurus constellation is just above it. The next star constellation is Gemini the Twins. Now again, the famous Greek god Zeus comes into picture. Here, if you can see, you find two bright stars, star Castor and star Pollux. Now these two stars are called as the twin stars, and they share a mother called Leda. But surprisingly, they have different fathers. Castor is said to be the son of the immortal god Zeus, whom we just discussed. And one day when Pollux died, Castor felt very bad, so he went to his immortal father and requested Pollux be brought back to life. Zeus couldn't do it, so he converted both Castor and Pollux into an immortal galaxy of stars, and that is why you can see both of them are quite similar, and that is why they are known as Gemini the Twins. Although this constellation of stars are also visible during the entire year, they're best viewed during the months of February. So my dear friends, I think all these stars constellation that we just discussed, we can start viewing them from the current month, December, January, February, and March. So I think you have, since you've learned how to spot these stars and how to identify, go pick up a stargazing app that is available in the Google store, point them at the night sky, and I'm sure you'll be able to identify at least one of these constellation of stars. Now it's time to hear the feedback from the star of the evaluators, a general evaluator, Toastmaster Kishore. So over to Toastmaster Kishore and his galaxy of stars.
Thank you, TMOD, and welcome back to the general evaluation session to everyone. So as I said, right now we are going to review the meeting from a qualitative perspective, and we will be hearing the feedback from our evaluators. So to do the honors, we have our first evaluator, Venkateshan. And Venkateshan is known for his persistence as a Toastmaster, and he's a domain expert in a leading IPR firm, intellectual property rights firm in Chennai, and also a qualified trademark agent. With that said, may I request Venkateshan to provide us the evaluation for Jagan's speech.
Thank you, G. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and distinguished guests. May I request all the audience to give a big round of applause to my target speaker, Toastmaster Jagan, delivered an amazing speech. Thank you. When I saw the topic, the riverbed, my mind recollects a quote. A river cut through the rock, not because of its power, because of its persistence. When you initiated the story about the Sushant Singh actor and Arun Kumar, particularly the age variations also you clarified that he is 35 years, he is 21 years. I have recollected very good connection as an audience perspective. I have recollected same incident happened on December 10th. Shanti Diaz Warner. He is a charitable person. He is running hospitals and pharmacy in a non-profit way in Coimbatore. But in social medias like a Facebook, other things, even the Tamil local channels, they are publishing about BJ, actor Chitra, who commits suicide. It's a very good connection. I would like to say 3 positive points in your speech, Toastmaster Jagan. Short anecdotes like exotic and shuttles. The words will give speeches to finish a fantastic way with a bang. And plus your delivery is powerful feelings. The second one is you classified inequality would be economic inequality and social inequality. Like Sushant Singh is an actor and Arun is an ordinary person. And there is one more connectivity about your servant maid, Lata. You mentioned she's a slum dweller and you mentioned the positive points about her, like the dressings, the common things. And in your family, you never treated badly. There is no social discrimination against her, even though she's a servant maid. The third positive point from your speech, you reveal that unfair situation in India, rather in the world, where some people have more opportunities, etc. Some people, they don't have more opportunities. I would like to say that 2 things, I don't want to say that it's a negative, 2 things to be improved. As an evaluator, my perspective is the speed of the delivery, like one story to another story. You should have a small pauses. And the second is the vocabulary, what you're using, the pronunciation, because of its online, it is very difficult to hear that. Like the small words like exotic, shuttle, and other things. I look forward more speeches from you. All the best, Toastmaster Jagannathan. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much, Venkateshan, for that insightful and very insightful review of Jagan's speech and very keen observations you have presented to us. With that said, let's move on to the next evaluation. It is for Thomas Abraham's speech. So to do that, I would be the evaluator for today. With that said, timer, may request you to start my timer. So if I have to put the whole 7-minute speech into a single line, I would say like 2 observations, 4 lessons, and 5 ingredients for a successful meeting, and a lifetime of experience speaking in front of us. So is the just condensed message from myself as a Toastmaster who is learning the process of leadership and putting it all together as a speech. So these are the 2 key things I come to Toastmasters to learn. So today I was mesmerized, and I do not hesitate to say that this 7 minutes is going to be a Bible for me for any of the future plannings, or if at all I get a role to play or organize a meeting, this 7-minute speech from Thomas Abraham today would be acting as a Bible for me. Why I'm saying that? Because it covers all the aspects of leadership. Number 1, he identified the pain points, the 2 observations which he had on top of his mind when designing our 600th meeting. Moving on, not only stopped there, rather he shared the 4 key ingredients or 4 key observations or lessons he has observed to make a meeting successful and flawless, having the right backup plans for the meetings and designing the roles and preparing it well in advance and preparing for that Murphy's law, like wherein if something has to go wrong, it will go wrong, and how do we act in the right time. And he showed that with experience today when he said, like, today is the second time when my act broadband has disconnected. It shows his experience of connecting the dots and putting it all together and showing it to us rather than just saying it. So these are the few highlights about this particular speech. And I'm very proud to say that I do not have any observations or especially for this speech today, because it was full of lessons for me as a Toastmaster, and I have learned a lot. So considering that, I do not have any observations. Rather, one key input, I would say, instead of asking for to type the rating for the meeting, it would have been great if you have asked if you have taken a poll, Thomas, because that would have given you more votes, because I could see that only 4 members responded because of the anonymity. So it would have been great if you have taken the poll and presented your rating. That's all I had to say, and this is one of the best speeches to conduct a meeting for any Toastmasters meeting. With that said, let me give it back to myself, Jitendra Evaluator. Now, let us move forward to our third evaluator. It is Atishai. He's from Agra and working as a data scientist in Viasat. He loves trekking and also loves to enjoy outdoors. One of his favorites in Chennai is enjoying the beaches in both Chennai and Pondicherry. With that said, let me request Atishai to provide his feedback for Periyaswamy's speech.
Thank you. Thank you, General Evaluator. Am I audible clearly? Okay, thank you. So I would begin by congratulating Toastmaster Periyaswamy for a job very well done. Kudos, Toastmaster. Your topic was very well thought out and about a burning need today. Now I'll go over the specific observations and my evaluation for the speech. In the beginning, I noticed that you started with a question and later connected that question to statistics and also cited appropriate sources for these statistics, which is something that is really appreciable. Next up, I noticed that you used an analogy from the IT sector to connect to your topic, right? And this strong analogy allowed the audience, it allowed me as a member of the audience to be able to relate to what you're saying, and it increased the impact of what you're saying and help drive the point home. Next up, and this is something that I noticed throughout your speech, every time you use statistics, it was in a pattern of 3s. So one number, then another number, and then another bigger number. And I feel this played out very well because you were building on top of what you had already said, and every successive point, it was more and more impactful. So this was a very good strategy, and kudos to you on using this. Next, you were able to put across your point about the value of food. So your speech was coherent and everything tied down to the one fundamental topic, one fundamental point that you were trying to put across. Again, job well done. Towards the end of the speech, instead of just preaching and going about, oh, okay, don't waste food, people are dying of hunger, don't waste food. You did not do that. Instead, you actually gave us actionable steps and advice so that your audience, the people in your audience, they can actually take something away from your speech, start implementing what they've learned, and then actually see differences in their lives. And finally, the way you ended the speech, you ended it on a very high note with a strong, clear call to action and a prompt to the audience, which was a good way to engage and to not leave the audience feeling that, oh, this speech was just a preaching for me, and to have them actually feel that they were able to interact with the speaker and engage with it. Now, moving on to a few things that could have been improved and could have been done better. The tonal variation in the speech, I feel that this could be better because a better tonal variation would have really enhanced the impact of the speech. An example that I would give would be when you were presenting the statistics. So you could start on a low tone or a moderate tone and then build onto that. So every successive point that you deliver, you could speak it in such a way that it appears to be powerful, right? And the next point about improvement would be the pauses in your speech felt like they were randomly distributed throughout the speech. So maybe you could improve on that and place them strategically to enthrall your audience. That said, the speaker was able to improve upon the feedback from the last speech, which is something really good. And congratulations to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Atishai. It was indeed a very great evaluation, and you have provided a very detailed feedback to the speaker, and I'm sure it helps Various Swami in his next speeches. Now let us move forward and get the quantitative feedback about this meeting. And may I request our timer to read out the detailed timer report for the day. Karthikeyan, over to you.
Yeah. Actually, today everyone is qualified. Toastmaster Jagadisan, 6 minutes. TTM Thomas Abraham 7 minutes. TM Periyasamy 6 minutes. Shamraj 22 minutes. Table topic Mr. Ramesh 2 minutes. TM Shankar 2 minutes. Ram Sharma 1.82 minutes. DTM Sambat Saurirajan 2 minutes. Ram guest 2 minutes. TM Gobinath 2 minutes. Menaga Ramsamy 2 minutes. Saguntala 2 minutes. Evaluation Toastmaster Venkatesh 3 minutes. Krishna Kumar 3 minutes, and Adishay 2 minutes. 14.
Okay, thank you, Karthikeyan, for a detailed report. And now let us move forward and take the counters report from Sharavanan. Sharavanan, over to you.
Sure, thank you, Toastmaster of the day. General Evaluator, let me share my screen. Let me know whether you are able to see this or not. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So as an R counter, this is my report. Although it is called as R counter, there are 12 different parameters like this. I have to count on how many times the teams have used the number of counters, the number of filler words like and pause, as well as the overused words like repeat, well, so, likewise. So there are 12 different parameters against which we have to come up with the report. This is the report, overall report. As you can see here, it has got counters in the sense if something is 5 or something, that means I have stopped with 5. That means I have not counted more than that, so that the teams know this is what the maximum count is. What I would say here is the couple of observations. Jagannathan in his speech, as his speech, a riverbed. That is the topic of the speech. Likewise, it is a clear riverbed. That means it's a clear speech as well. Kudos to you, Toastmaster Jagannathan. Likewise, DTM Sampath Saurirajan as his TT speech, no surprise. It is also no surprise that there is no filler words or any crutch words as such. Kudos to you as well. Then we can see all the other Toastmasters as well as participants, wherein they have used some other things. And one of the important observations here is the usage of you can see some of the places where there are some skyscrapers. So try to avoid those skyscrapers because these are all more 3, 4, and 5 as such. So let us try to avoid that, because the topic today, we can reach the stars, but we don't have to be in a skyscraper to reach the stars, but we can just be in the ground also to reach the stars. This is pretty much my report, and I can share this, but you can see where you stand with respect to all the 12 different filler and crutch words as such. This is my report. Over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Sharavanan, for providing us a pictorial representation of how each member did today in the meeting. Thank you very much for the detailed report. Now let us move forward to get the perspective from our grammarian. Let me invite Ranga to provide us the grammarian's report. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to read out the report. Jagannathan had an extensively a good usage of words like exotic, enact, ingrained, discriminate, obligated, invested, equitably, arbitrary, and subtle. And he used phrases like pests on a paddy field, needle piercing a banana. DTM Thomas had used the words consciously, rehearse, contra thought, challenge, inspiration, and used phrases like backup plans and lower my guard. TM Periasamy used words like rotting, variety, strictly, benevolence, grateful, processing, and phrases like day in and day out and mind voice. Toastmaster Shankar used an extensive array of words, but all of them were very simple. I was surprised by the simplicity of his sentences, and I couldn't find any extraordinary usage of words. But there were some phrases like miss a chunk and a few other things that I didn't note down. Among the TT session, we had many words like genuine, honest, integrity, consequences, etc. And in the evaluation section, TM Venkatesh used a river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. One second. And TM Krishna Kishore used words like mesmerized and organized. Toastmaster Atishay used words like kudos, appropriate, appreciable, analogy, and coherent. And at the beginning of this session, I was filled with euphoria that many people will use the word of the day. But I have to say that I'm the only one who has used it today. Over to you, G.
Thank you very much, Ranga. Thank you for reminding us in a subtle way that we haven't used the word of the day. Thank you very much for a detailed Grammarian's report. With that said, it is now to understand how well we did as a meeting with my report as a general evaluator. So today, so far, someone told me long ago that when you see the sky, you will find the calmness. But today, Suganti gave me so much of homework for my lifetime to identify those combination of stars and look at it from a different perspective. Thank you very much, Suganti. You have mesmerized all of us with a unique perspective of looking at the sky and finding the nature in a different view. And you did a commendable job when we lost Thomas sir, and how you transitioned it. That is something, and your experience speaks there. And kudos to you for setting the bar high again. Moving on, the setting up of the meeting. So I would say, like, we have missed the beat today by 2 minutes. Our standard is 2:55, and that is what admires me about Medley. Missing it even by 10 seconds is not acceptable to me as a Toastmaster of Medley. So we lost a beat by 2 minutes. And we had that initial roll hiccups, so that was one thing which we as our XCOM team can look after for the future meetings. Coming to the speakers, all the three speakers, I would say, like, were very well prepared, and all the three speeches were very well presented. So that brought the very good light to this meeting and charm to this meeting, undoubtedly. Moving on to the education session, today, after hearing Thomas sir's speech about how to organize a meeting, this is one thing, whatever Shamraj spoke today, I was closely connected to each one of those points, and definitely as a Toastmaster, and this particular education session is going to help me in a long way, and I'm sure it is for most of you as well. And thank you very much, Shamraj, for helping us identify those key points in the evaluation of speech, evolution of our speeches. Moving on to the evaluations, I found the evaluations to be insightful, and they were very meaningful, and the observations were to the point to each one of those speakers. And kudos to our evaluators, Venkatesh and Atishai. Thank you very much for that. And moving on to the table topics, I see that a success of a table topics master is only when the member succeeds. So today, as we do not have any disqualifications, kudos to you, Shruti, for conducting or picking the right topics for all of our members. And each one of those topics you have chosen was very insightful, and the perspectives which we got from our members was very insightful. Kudos to you for doing a great job as a table topics master. Coming to the R-Counter, Grammarian art tag team, they did a fantabulous job, and R-Counter Sharavanan gave a pictorial representation of what we did. That's job well done. And Ranga identified or gave all the inputs or provided his feedback of what are the great words. And it was a pleasure to listen all of them once again. From a timer perspective, I just have a small observation. We should have given this precise time so that it helps each member. It was rounded to the closest rounding. So it would have been great to the members to understand how well they did with the minutes or seconds, I would say. That would have been helpful for each individual member. Coming to the bottom line of the meeting, today it was flawless, I would say, other than the initial hiccups. All the role players did a fantabulous job. Speakers and table topic speakers did perform well in their given times. Having said that, this is one of the best meetings in the recent times for me as a Toastmaster. And let me hand over the stage back to our Toastmaster of the day, Sugandhi Peryaswamy.
Thank you, Medley Star Toastmaster Kishore. They say the stars are always lucky and they bring us luck. So we don't want to disappoint our grammarian today. Ladies and gentlemen, on December 21st, we are going to witness a euphoric moment in the night sky when two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, come in a conjunction. It means that these two planets will be the closest to planet Earth on December 21st. And this is an interesting tidbit given to me by our grammarian Toastmaster Ranga. They say reach for the moon. If you're not able to reach for the moon, you will at least pick up a few stars while you fall back on your way to Earth. I don't know if that is true. There's also a saying, when you can reach for the stars, why only aim for the moon? Now, I don't know which of these we should aspire for, but I know one thing. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so sky, like a diamond in the sky. So here's wishing all of you that all the stars bringing a lot of luck that complements your hard work, and may the days ahead be as bright as those diamonds shining in the bright sky. It's now time to welcome back our president who went missing hunting for those stars. To welcome him back on our virtual stage, DTM Thomas Abraham.
Thank you very much, DTM Sugandhi. I wanted to demonstrate what I wanted to say about you when I was to introduce you. I wanted to say among many things about you, and there are so many things, I wanted to say that you are coming back to Medley has been a big tonic for us. And my failing in my ACT connection, I knew with my eyes closed that you will take over and make it a seamless thing. And you did. I knew it, so I had no worries at all. Thank you for that. Back to the whole meeting. GE giving the kind of round off in true TQM style. All I need to do once again is to sign off and say, I agree with you entirely. But at the same time, in terms of time, which many of us consider important, I feel a little like the opening batsman who went out retired hurt. Sorry, don't abuse me on a day when India is all out for 32 runs in Test cricket. But I will still be short and I will make up for it. First of all, thank you, the two guests. May we have a word from Menka? One sentence. What did you gain today, Menka?
In one sentence, I can say this is the path I grow in my life in public speaking and communication skill. And also, I met a lot of socially involved people like Pereswamy said, this food-based topic, that social related topics I know through this meeting only.
Very good. Very good. Sorry. Go ahead.
I will improve to keep on attending this meeting. That's
Very
all
good.
from
Menka, early in life, you learned one clever thing. Use the word and you can make a long sentence, a single sentence long. Done very well. Maybe then have Raman, is he around with us? Okay. Shakuntala ji, are you there?
So except for Menaka, no guest is here. So we can.
So Menka represents the guest group, that segment, and we got a very good score from that. And I think we must compliment the guests for a good judgment because we deserved that. As has been said by Kishore, I think we did have a wonderful meeting. And I'm personally glad that one dropout, between you and me, one dropout gave us Shamlal. He is the #1 star among speakers in this district. And his humility is what gave us his presence and wisdom in a short period of time. I personally would like to thank him. And so do I want to thank all the guests. And I also would like to congratulate especially Toastmasters Karthikeyan and Toastmaster Shruti as debutants in the respective roles. Karthikeyan, I'm so glad you come back. I know the first meeting, you are back. You will never give it up now. Okay? You are now part of our elite timers group now. Yeah, welcome. So with that, I would close, except to say that what I wanted to say in the introduction was we have crossed the President's distinguished marks midway through. I must thank you all. I don't know, there are many of our young Toastmasters are not here. It's your educational zest for education that's giving the bulk of the marks. So it's yours. It's yours by and large. The XCOM is doing their job. So congratulations for that. And now we have to look for the golden gavel. That as the baton gets passed on to the next XCOM, they will lead it and they will need all your support, which I'm sure is forthcoming. With these words, allow me to please close this meeting 603 with the sound of this imaginary gavel and invite you all to the largest chat room in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, shall I? And sorry, in the world, because London is also involved.